Hi, my name's Victor Brick, and welcome to May's Good Old Uncle Vic. My mom passed recently. She was 96 years old. Now, when you talk about my mother, you also have to talk about my dad, her husband of 67 years, who passed 6 months earlier. Theirs is a love story that spanned 8 decades. They first met in Manila at the end of World War II when my father was this dashing second lieutenant working for the Army Corps of Engineers helping to rebuild the city. His job was to relocate people, purchase property, and sometimes have to relocate people through eminent domain so they could build roads and bridges and rebuild the city. My mother was a lawyer working for the MacArthur administration, writing contracts for things like real estate purchases and eminent domain. And there were dozens of people doing what my dad was doing and dozens of people doing what my mom was doing, so it wasn't like they saw everybody every day. And one day my father came into the field office at noon to get his next set of orders, and he saw 3 pretty Filipino women eating lunch in the corner on a drafting table. And they smiled at him, and he walked up to the prettiest one, my mother, and said, "When I've been out on the long, hot, dusty road all day, and I see your smile, the day is reborn, so please keep smiling." Now, who wouldn't fall for a line like that? At the end of the war, when my dad left to go back to the United States to be discharged, everybody told my mother, "You'll never see that American soldier again." But they didn't know John C. Brick. And 6 months later, he returned, and they were married shortly thereafter. And they've been together ever since, until the time of his passing. Up until the time my father passed, my mother was in perfect health, except for some nagging issues with peripheral vascular disease. I'm convinced she died of a broken heart. It is said when 2 people are together that long, their souls like to travel together to heaven. When I was looking for some pictures to put in my mother's memorial DVD, I looked in a file that I hadn't looked at in 5 years, and I found this picture. I'm telling you, I have never seen this picture before. Never. It's a picture of my mother on a swing, obviously in her youth. And I looked on the back and it said, "To Johnny, lest you forget, love Lulu." It was the picture my mother gave to my father to remember her by the day he left to come back to the United States. And it's dated April 15th, 1946. Now, my mother passed on April 14th, and I thought, boy, she missed the anniversary by 1 day. And then the morning of the funeral, I got a text from our 2 great friends in Australia, Tony DeLead and Sue Blazovic, and I thought, boy, it's great that they offering their condolences, and I thought, boy, that's really something they remembered so early in the morning. And then I realized that remembered that they're 14 hours ahead in Australia. And then I realized they're 12 hours ahead in the Philippines, in Manila. My mother passed at 1:50 in the afternoon of April 14th, which makes it 1:50 in the morning of April 15th in Manila, the Philippines. My mother passed on the anniversary of the day my father left her to go to the United States. She lost him once. She wasn't about to lose him again. We close every Uncle Vic with a thought for the day. And today's thought for the day is taken from 1 Corinthians 13, verse 13. "Now these 3 things abideth, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." Until we meet again, that's it from good old Uncle Vic.